Hey, what's up, vinyl community? It is Kendall Stokes coming at you with another video for the Spin Doctor and his Vinyl Mayhem YouTube channel. Today, what I wanted to do was something a little different. I thought I would take a page out of Mike at Hub Tunes. Mike, if you haven't seen Mike's channel, he's got a really good channel. I've been following him for a while. But he has started doing this thing this year where he's called it, I believe, 3 from 1 or 3-4-1. I'm sorry, Mike, I can't remember what you're calling it. But what he's doing is he's taking 3 albums from one artist that he thinks are like the absolute best, and just kind of talking about those albums. And that's what I wanted to do today. And if you watched my YouTube short, you kind of probably already know what artist I'm going to be talking about. And that is a band, the band's Collective Soul. It's a band that I think kind of gets lumped into a weird area because they didn't really fit into grunge, and they didn't really fit into the new era of rock, I guess, in the 90s. They kind of were just kind of in the middle because they came out in the early 90s after Pearl Jam and Nirvana and Soundgarden, and they're from the South, but they weren't really Southern rock. They weren't like the Black Crowes, they weren't like REM, who aren't Southern rock, of course, but they didn't, but they weren't grunge, and they weren't like Pearl Jam. They weren't like the grunge groups either, but they weren't. So they kind of were off in their own little realm, and I think they kind of get a bad rap. Like, I know my wife doesn't really like them, and I was a huge fan of this band back when I was a teenager. I thought they had a lot of great songs that I was really big fans of, and I want to talk about 3 of their albums. It's their first 3 albums, actually. Like I said, this band made up of the Rowland brothers from Stockbridge, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta. The first album, this one right here, this is the 2020 reissue from Kraft, Hints, Allegations, and Things Left Unsaid. This came out, the original came out in 1993. It was on an independent label. The song Shine came out and was a huge success that it was passed around in the South and like the Atlanta area at radio stations. Became really, really popular on the radio. They were then signed to Atlantic. They wanted to capitalize on the success of Shine. The album was reissued in 1994. The album went to #1. Song Shine was #1. But that was really the only big hit off of this record, even though the record was a success. And there's some other good tracks on this album, but definitely Shine is the biggest one. It's the #1 track on it. So the album opens with their biggest song. And I still think probably the band's biggest song. Most people really, if they know Collective Soul, that's really the only song that a lot of them do know. But huge success. And, is a good album. This album, like I said, it went platinum. There are some good tracks on it besides Shine. Like I said, this was a Kraft reissue. They did it for Record Store Day a few years back, and then it was reissued afterwards. This is the reissue afterwards. They're really good copy, and has been hard to find lately. It recently has hit some stores again, so I would say if you do see one, pick it up because they are scarce. After that, in 1996, they released their self-titled, just Collective Soul, the blue album here. This one, I think, much better record. Again, this one right here had a lot more hits that came off of it. The World I Know was a huge one. December, Where the River Flows, Gel, just to name a few. Big songs on the radio. Again, went to #1, platinum selling. After this record came out, though, they began to be some legal battles with their management, and so they had to cut touring short, and that slowed some things down. And while stuff was going on in the courts, they went and recorded their third album, which is this one right here. This was released, this is the release from Record Store Day last year, also by Kraft, which also, this one right here, before I forget, also was a Kraft release. Another one, not in print right now, so if you could find it, consider yourself lucky. Hard to find. But this one was released for Record Store Day last year. This one is Precious Declaration. This one, another great record, I think. Went to #1 again, but did not have the success that the first two records did. But hits on this one were Precious Declaration, Listen, Discipline Breakdown, and Forgiveness were the big ones on this one. Radio tracks for sure. Still a great record. And this was actually originally released on vinyl back in 1998 or 9, I think, when it came out. But a great album. But shortly after this, they started to kind of sink a little bit. Their fourth album's not that bad. Dosage, it hasn't been released on vinyl. I predict we might see that next year for the 25th anniversary. But band members started to change a little bit here and there, and so the band now, there's only a few original members left. The Rowland brothers are still in the band, of course. But after these first three albums, I kind of lost interest in the band, to be fair. I don't know. The songs just didn't really grab me like they did in the first three there. Like I said, the fourth one's not bad. I'll probably pick that up if it ever gets released on vinyl. But those three records I think are fantastic. Love them. I remember as a teenager, they released a greatest hits CD, which I have somewhere, called 7 Year Itch. They had only been around for 7 years, and they released a greatest hits album, and it was of their first 4 records. Great compilation album. Had all the best songs on it, and yeah, I remember picking that up at Sam Goody. Man, I miss stores like that. But love the early Collective Soul. A band that I don't think gets a lot of love. They are still around today. They're still touring. They still make records. Again, really not into the new Collective Soul. The old Collective Soul, I think, is where it's at. And I think it's just because they never really fit in anywhere, in my opinion. You know, if you think otherwise, let me know. Let me know if you are a fan of this band, if you have these records, if you think the new stuff's good, and maybe I'm just wrong and you think some of their stuff I need to look into. Let me know. But like I said, these 3 records to me are where it's at. Great stuff, great songwriting, great hooks, great guitar riffs, great licks. But that's what I got for you today, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did like it, please leave me a thumbs up. Leave me some comments down below. If you would, subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate that. If not, I get it. I understand. But hope to see you guys down the road. Record Store Day is coming up. I released a video about a month or so back of my picks for Record Store Day. Go back and check that out. It's coming up, though. I'm really looking forward to that. And I'll catch you on down the road. Peace. Love you guys. Bye.